The place? Newcastle, northeast England. The date? September. It's summer. The event? The Great North Run. A day of local hysteria where the locals forget they have cars. Streets are blocked, roads are closed, while onlookers gawp at the bedraggled masses. But it's not a problem if you have a motorbike. But as I said, I'm in Newcastle today, and what for? Well, I thought I'd pop out and look! It's the Great North Run! The longest half marathon no wait, that doesn't make sense. The biggest half marathon in the world. Now I got up a few hours earlier, as you kind of have to on a day like today. All the roads were being shut and turned into a giant running track. What a perfect day to test out my new acquisition. A pristine Honda CB350 Four-cylinder. Once the smallest four-cylinder engine in production, this bike was made to show the world the technical and mechanical prowess of Honda. It was also extremely complicated and fiddly to work on. That's why they never sold very well compared to the two-cylinder 350, which was faster, easier to work on, and most importantly, cheaper. Back in 1973, in America, you could pick up the two-cylinder for $800. The four-cylinder would cost you a little bit more, $1,100. So because the four-cylinder never sold very well, in recent years the price has been steadily rising. So when I saw one on Facebook Marketplace for a reasonable price, I jumped on it. And since it's a Honda, you know, it's gonna be pretty reliable.
Believe in Honda.
Going what? No, ignore that. Get moving on. Now I found a neat little parking spot near the stage, a music hall affectionately known as The Slug, made by the same people who did the Sydney Opera House, don't you know? Now you can see why Newcastle is called the City of Bridges. And after seeing the state of the Tyne Bridge, it's begging for a repaint, I saw the runners coming into view. Now as they do, more videos of my bike! Now despite this only being a 350cc motorcycle, it feels like it has tons of power, especially since I'm used to two little 90cc Super Cubs. This basically has four Super Cub engines stacked together. And what you get then is a buttery smooth ride that you have to then rev its guts out to get any sort of reasonable power. But that just means it sounds like a little race bike. Red line starts at 11,000 RPM. Now back to the run. I set off from Newcastle and headed to the finish line, which is in the seaside town of South Shields, where I live. My Honda was doing a fantastic job weaving in through small streets, and after a few breaks to see those bedraggled masses mentioned earlier, those poor people, I made it back home, where a small vehicle change was necessary. I couldn't not put one of my Super Cubs in the video. Where cars struggle to find a park, my Super Cub was in its element. It's basically a bicycle. But anyway, I set off my drone for another look at the finish line. They're getting there now. Just a quick reminder, if you've liked this video, please give me a quick like and subscribe. Now back to the bike. Even though I've had a few glitches, just a blown fuse, but let's not talk about it. I'm so glad to have bought this bike. It's the reason why I love motorbikes, because you can own a piece of history for far lower than a classic car. Yeah, I own 3 now. What's wrong with my life? Anyway, with the last few stragglers reaching the finish line, it was time to head home. Now I can definitely say that I'm glad I was riding today instead of running. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you'll join me next time where I head to Grumpy Doctor Land.
Did you wash your hands? Oh, well, goodness gracious, maybe there's a link.
Cornwall. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!
Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Ruddy, 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 ruddy.